Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, this is Wales from West to East, and in this video I'm going to show you how to prepare this nice wintry dish consisting of meatballs with homemade tomato sauce and mushrooms. And as a bonus, I'm also going to show you how to prepare a nice little side dish from rice, which goes perfectly well with this kind of saucy food. So hope you like it, and I'll see you in a bit to show you the ingredients. Alright, so for the ingredients for this recipe, first of all, for the meatballs themselves, you will need to prepare the meatballs preparation base, the recipe for which I've shown you before, so I'm just going to put a link for that video. Follow it, and on top of that basic recipe, we're going to also add some parsley and some stale bread soaked in warm water, which you can also replace with breadcrumbs in a box, which you can use for other things. So this is for the meatballs. Next, for the sauce. For the sauce, you obviously need tomatoes. You can also use fresh tomatoes or other type of tomato sauce, which is purely tomato. Then a carrot, an onion or a half onion, depends on the size that you have at home, some celery stalks, beef stock, and some mushrooms. And finally, I'm also going to show you how to prepare a little side dish with rice and some bay leaves and another stock, beef stock, but this will be for the final part. So this is the basic ingredients. Now I'm gonna leave you to prepare the meatballs preparation base, and then I'm gonna show you what to do with the stale bread. So see you in a bit. So for the first part of the preparation of this dish, you should now have the basic meatballs preparation base, to which, as I told you, we're just gonna add some parsley, using frozen one, and the stale bread. So what you need is take the stale bread and really make sure there's not much water left in it. So just squeeze it. It's not very clean, but it can be a bit messy because the bread will start to break in small pieces, but yeah, cooking is never too clean. So make sure there's no water left in it whatsoever, because otherwise your meatball preparation will be too liquid and your meatballs will not hold together, they'll fall apart during the cooking process. So you really want them to be firm. Yeah. So now you take the bread and you break it in very small pieces. Just mash it like that. I don't know. As I said, it's not very pretty, but doesn't matter because it tastes good. So what this does with the meatballs preparation is that it gives it more volume, and you get more from the same amount of meat, so it's cheaper. Now the second part. That should do it. So once you get this part done, you should mix it all together. Now the best way to do it is with your hands. You can always use some tools, but at this stage it's just best to do it like if you're mixing a bread dough. So just get everything and just squeeze it like that. I don't know if you can see, but just take it and squeeze it, and it tends to mix up very well. So you mix it all, make sure it's very well mixed, and you can leave it in the fridge for a couple of minutes while you prepare the next part, which will be the sauce. So yeah, that's it for this part. After the break I'm going to show you the next one. Okay, so for the sauce preparation, what you have to do is very simple at this stage. Just chop the vegetables in relatively large pieces. Don't even bother to do it too well, because we're gonna mix them all together in a chopper afterwards. So just chop them as you want, and next we're gonna fry them real quick in some oil before continuing with the sauce preparation. So just what I'm gonna do, chop it large like that. Yep. And the celery stalks. So next, as I said, we're gonna fry them. Okay, so for this part I've preheated some cooking oil in a large cooking pan, and what I'm going to do is add the vegetables in it and leave them fry for a couple of minutes, maybe 2-3 minutes or so. Just want them to get soft. And once we're done with this, I think I put a bit to hot some lower it a little bit. So just leave them like that for 2 to 4 minutes, and then we're gonna add the rest of the ingredients and continue with the sauce. Alright, so the vegetables are now ready to be mixed. So you obviously need some kind of a mixer. Use whatever you have. You just take all the vegetables with the foil and put them in your mixer like that. Just be careful, because it needs to be hot. I'm just going to leave that to the side. Next you add some paprika, which I forgot to mention in the ingredients part. So this is to taste, like whatever you like. The tomatoes, if you have them fresh or canned, doesn't matter, you add them at this point. And one of the beef stalks. You can also use dry ones. I'm using these jelly-like beef stalks, but they also exist in other forms. So use whatever you have. Right? And then add some warm water, about 1 teacup. If it's too much, don't worry, you can add it later on. I'm just gonna stop here, I think. And now what you have to do is mix it. So mix it until you get a creamy substance, which is completely homogeneous, no pieces in it. So yeah, I'm gonna mix it and then I'm gonna show you what it should look like. Okay, so this is the mixed sauce. You can just put it back into the big cooking pan. don't worry about the celery leaves, which will always remain in small pieces. You can't really chop those any more than this, so it's not that important. It doesn't bother anyway. So now see this, what it's like. Now if you want it to be more liquid, you can always add 1 more cup of water. If it's too liquid for your taste, you can also add some flour to make it more dense. So it's up to you, but keep in mind that you need quite a bit of sauce to cover all the meatballs. So what I'm going to do is add some more water in it, like about 1/2, maybe a teacup or a coffee cup apparently, but it's always to taste. So this is what it looks like, kind of a soupy thing for now, but also keep in mind that it will get a little bit more dense while cooking, because now what we have to do is put it back on the oven for about 30 minutes. So yeah, make sure you have a lid on it and put it back to cook for some 25-30 minutes in medium heat, not too strong. You don't want it to boil, just keep it cooking slowly. And if at some point it gets too dry, always add some more water, or as I said, some flour, up to your taste. So this is this part. Next we're gonna start the actual meatballs for it. So see you in a bit. Right, so now while the sauce is cooking, we're gonna prepare the actual meatballs. So you can take out the preparation from the fridge and prepare a little pan like this with flour. So what you have to do now is make the meatballs. So take a chunk of meat, and I suggest you get a little container with some water so that you can keep your hands slightly wet. It helps for the meat to not stick too much to your hands. So just make little or bigger, whatever you prefer, meatballs, but make them flat, not too spherical. Just like that, and put them in the flour. Once you have enough, you have to return them so that they get floury from every side. So just do this until there's no more meat left, and every now and then you take some more water so that the meat doesn't stick too much to your hands, as I said. So this is for now. Next we're gonna fry them in some oil. Alright, so it's now time to actually fry the meatballs real quick. So here I have preheated some cooking oil. Here are the ready meatballs, all stacked up to be fried. So unlike with the other pan-fried meatballs recipe, what you have to do is fry them real quick for like 2 minutes each side and take them out of the frying pan, because they will have some more time to cook with the sauce. So now I'm just gonna add as much as I can in this pan. Well, apparently it's not hot enough yet, but should be fine pretty soon. So yeah, make sure your cooking oil is a bit hotter than mine in this case, and fry them real quick. Basically what you want is to make them firm. Once they start getting a little bit crunchy on the outside, you can take them out. And then I'm gonna do the mushrooms. So here's what your meatball should look like. See, this side is starting to go brown. and it's crispy, a bit hard when you touch it. So this is what you want. Once they get the same on both sides, take them off the heat and lower the heat, but don't turn it off completely, because we're going to use the same oil to prepare the mushrooms with. So yeah, leave it like that for just a couple more minutes, and then we'll move on to the mushrooms. Okay, so here's the meatballs. They look quite nice already, but you have to wait before eating them. Next, mushrooms. Take all the mushrooms and slice them in thin slices like that. So I'll do this with all the mushrooms and put them in the cooking oil that you used to fry the meatballs with. In the meantime, your sauce should be about ready, or at least in my case it was. So if it's ready, just lower the heat and leave it like that for a while, because once we're done with all this, we're gonna add all these things in the sauce and leave it cooking for a little bit more. So yeah, cut mushrooms, fry mushrooms, and add it all to the sauce. Alright, the mushrooms are now sliced, so back at the oven, you should turn the heat up a bit, like not to the top, but quite a bit, so that the cooking oil gets all heated up again, and just add all the mushrooms. Now mushrooms tend to lose a lot of water while cooking, so at first it would seem like you have a huge pile of mushrooms, but in a couple of minutes they will get much smaller, so don't worry about it. And in any case, mushrooms are good, so you need a lot of mushrooms. So leave the mushrooms until they lose most of their water and they get all soft. I don't know what the other clue to give you, how to know that they're ready, but anyway, I'm going to show you once they're ready to be put in the sauce. So for now, just leave it like that and wait a bit. Alright, so the mushrooms look about done. This took about 5 minutes to get to this stage of cooking. So since they will cook some more with the sauce, you don't have to completely finish the preparation. So now just lower the heat to like 4 out of 9 and swap places the sauce and the mushrooms. So now you can see the sauce, it's boiling slightly, but not too much, which is good. So now what you have to do is just add all the mushrooms in the sauce, like that. And also add all the meatballs to it. And what I'm going to do is just transfer them like this, because otherwise this is going to take ages. And getting some of the oil doesn't matter at all, because we're actually going to add some of it to the sauce to add some more taste. That's why we use the same oil to cook both the meatballs and the mushrooms, so that they will actually get some of the taste from the meatballs. Right, so no longer need this. And where did I put the other two? So just take a little bit of oil from here, not too much, and mix it here, like that. Get everything mixed. Should maybe lower this a little bit, because it seems to be a bit too hot. And finally add all the meatballs. Now, just gonna go there, cold enough, yeah, it's alright. You can touch them now. Just carefully add them all, like that. I'll leave that here. And mix it all together. And basically this is it for the main part of this dish. Now what you have to do is put the lid back on and leave it cooking for some 15 more minutes or so. But as I told you at the start of the video, I'm also gonna show you how to prepare a nice little side dish for this, because it's so nice together that I think it's appropriate for me to show you how to make it. So, closing the lid and on to the rice. Right, now for the rice side dish, you take your rice in a cooking pan large enough to hold it when it will bloat. So just add the rice and add some warm water. So I'm gonna ask my assistant here to help me with the water. In the meantime, I'm just gonna add the beef stock to the rice, like that. Nope. And a couple of bay leaves. Oops, sorry, one down. So better use some warm water, even hot water will do. You'll see the exact measurements in the description below, but in any way, some bay leaves. Don't put too many because you won't eat them, they're just here for the taste. So I think this should do it. Alright, now the water. Okay. Put the lid on it and get it to boil. Once it boils, you should lower the heat to the minimum level possible on your oven and keep it under the lid, slowly cooking until there's no more water left in the cooking pan. So the rice will bloat up and drink all the water. So this could take a couple of minutes, maybe 20-30 minutes. So it's usually a good idea to prepare this at the same time that you're preparing the rest of your meatballs. But since I'm making a video, I can't do all at the same time. So yeah, anyways, I'm just gonna put it to boil for now, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like once there's no more water left in it. So see you in a bit. Alright, so we're basically done now. Everything is ready. Now one thing, once your rice gets to this stage, no water in it whatsoever, it holds firm in the cooking pan, you just take it off the oven, the stove, and leave it for 5 minutes like that under the lid, so that it will keep cooking slowly with the steam that it produces. So once this is done, you can open it, remove the bay leaves, and serve it. As for the main dish, well, it is ready. It looks like that. Nothing special about it to do for now. Just if you're gonna eat it right away, keep it on the fire while the rice is getting ready for the final 5 minutes. And once this is done, you can just serve your main dish and use the rice as a side dish. So that's it for this recipe. Hope you like it, and see you soon at What's to Eat.